as lessons he's planned over. That's all.
Good morning, Harris Academy. My name's Mr. Doherty and I'm joined by my co-presenter,
Mr. Rickenberg.
and we're here for our weekly instalment of Jogging Around the World.
Yeah.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm alright, you know. Yeah.
Good week?
Yeah, it's been, again, can't believe it's Friday.
Yeah.
I feel like we just repeat
I
ourselves
think
here.
that might become a new little tagline.
I can't believe it's Friday.
Yeah.
It's just gone so quick again. It goes so fast, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It does, yeah. This week has been really, really quick. I think it's helped with one successful trip. The beginning of the week, having a trip at the beginning of the week is chaos.
Carnage.
And then obviously, in traditional Mr. Rickenberg-led geography department, one trip didn't go ahead, but we'll get back to that.
We'll touch upon that in a minute.
Right, what have you made for me, sir? What are you drinking?
Well, so today I had to replenish the actual coffee stocks in the locker this morning. So you've got a, I can't even remember what it's called. It's the Nescafe, it's the nice stuff though.
Yeah, the powder.
Nazura,
or something.
Nazura, the coffee stuff. The best
coffee
instant coffee you can get, because someone keeps drinking all the coffee out of the locker, Ava.
It's his fault for not locking his locker. That's what the
And
name's there for.
yeah, so I have to keep replenishing the stocks.
It was your round.
It was my round, yeah, I know. Yeah. So that's why you haven't got like a fancy iced coffee.
That's
because
right.
We're replenishing the
this is
stocks.
even better.
We need something hot this morning. So you have got, and that, what's it called? Nazura coffee with 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 scoops of coffee, milk first, so you don't burn the coffee.
You're absolutely flying, yeah.
Topped up with hot water.
Yeah, 3 periods.
We'd like to say good morning to our producer, Ava.
Good morning.
It's nice to have you back. How are you?
I'm alright, not
Good
too bad.
stuff. Have you got your drink there?
No.
Where is it?
Well, have you left it upstairs?
Don't tell me you didn't bring it down.
Why would I need to bring it down?
I said to you, bring Ava's drink, and you said, all right, I'll grab it.
You did, so right.
So you have got a Juice Burst smooth orange upstairs on my desk.
I was so ready to get into you this morning.
So-
I thought you was going to forget your round and then you didn't, and now I've messed it up.
I promise you, Ava, there is a drink upstairs for you, and I promise you, I asked him to bring it down for you, and I promise you, he said, yeah, no worries,
I'll grab it.
because I wouldn't have made the coffee. You can grab it after this. It's upstairs for you.
It's here in spirit.
Expect the quality of this podcast to be better this week than the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, because we've got Ava back.
Over back, yeah.
The ship has been steadied.
Yeah, exactly.
How did I describe it before? We were at 6s and 7s when you weren't there, Ava.
It genuinely feels like we're back to normal now because we've got a little audience. It's good.
Yeah,
We appreciate you, Ava. We're buzzing
Yeah,
back.
we do. We were a bit lost
Yeah.
without you. Right. Okay. So,
Shout out.
outs. What have we got?
Miss Jones.
Yeah. How do I describe Miss Jones? That's legend.
Definitely.
Yeah, history teacher, but we'll forgive that. But
She does big up geography though.
All the time.
She's I reckon up there one of our biggest
and
fans.
she was the peacemaker between history and geography because
She built the bridge. Yeah, she did.
build. She nearly burnt our bridges, but she fixed the bridge. The bridge has been fixed.
So now there's a good relationship between the two.
She did also come storming in and say, "I want a shout out." So here it is.
So here it is.
But
we'll say we'll give her the shout out, not because she asked for one.
Yes.
We'll give her a shout because she put out the olive branch.
Yes, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, meant those bridges.
She
that
could
were
burn the 2 departments and
burnt by me. I'm being totally honest. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, then my name was put through the mud. Anyway, so there's your shout out, Miss Jones.
Yes.
Have we got anyone else?
Trip teachers.
Yes, so the teachers that were
Right.
So those that went on the trip. So Missy C.
So we touched upon the. Oh, right, go on.
Yeah,
then.
so we got Missy C, who was our first trip. She did very, very well. Mr. Kimball, who got put in for the double shift. Then you had
Spelcher.
Miss Belcher was fantastic on the trip as well.
She was really good.
And Miss Yeldon, myself, you, and Miss Duffy.
Miss Duffy.
Sterling work.
So that was Monday's trip. One half of Year 9 went to Walton on the Naze for our worldwide listeners. It is a lovely little seaside town on the North Sea, coastal Essex. Very different when you're looking at our seaside towns. I was actually talking to my brother about this. When you go and British seaside towns on a Monday afternoon when it's cloudy and raining, the pier was like shut, nothing was open. Near enough, all like the cafes, the tea rooms, everything was closed, and you're like, this is quite bleak.
Yeah,
it is
waiting
pretty
for a while though Monday.
So yeah, we couldn't do our beach profile, could we? Because the tide was in too high. But the kids got to actually see a seawall in action. The waves battering the seawall up and over they went.
Perfect.
So it was really good.
Perfect.
That was good.
And Tuesday?
And the kids deserve a shout out because they were brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. The kids were.
Considering it couldn't go straight to plan due to the weather and the tide and stuff, I thought the kids did really well. So
I agree, definitely agree.
And then we got to Tuesday.
Then we got to Tuesday, and I was driving down, and all of a sudden at about, what time was it? About 6:30, 6:45, got a text from the group chat, the bridge is shut.
Yeah, well, I left mine at 6, and it took me an hour and a half to get to Trafford 100.
Yeah.
So this morning it took me 35 minutes. On Tuesday it took me an hour and a half.
Yeah, so the bridge
I
was
arrived
shut
at 7:30.
because of a police incident. We won't delve into that anymore.
No.
And as a result, whenever the bridge is shut, and I'm sure Ava will attest to this, and anyone who lives in Trafford will attest to this, when that bridge is shut, this place is also shut. Everything is pandemonium.
It just grinds to a halt. It's carnage. Like,
Yeah.
it really links back to like our congestion stuff, and this is like overspill of London, isn't it? This is I think it's London congestion like spilling over to here because we basically are there. It's chaos. As soon as that bridge goes down, it's not as soon. It's a big deal when the bridge goes, but it just shows how many people are crossing it or nearby.
Yeah. Who use that bit of infrastructure. It's an important bit of infrastructure.
So one of the coach drivers took a wrong turning. He was here, took a wrong turning, got caught back in the traffic, and it added an hour onto the sat nav.
So we had to
pull the trip.
So I was actually talking to it was Miss Patel. So it was more of a jibe towards me than anything else. But we were saying of all the trips that have been successful and all the trips that haven't, something's gone wrong in. We've had 3 trips that something's gone wrong in, and 1 trip has been successful. Monday's been the only successful one. No, 2 trips. We had the first Whitstable trip that didn't go again because bus issues. Then we had the second trip that went well. So maybe we're 2 good, 3 bad. So
that's got a team on.
Yeah, that's one of the bad ones.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we won't
speak
less of that.
Yeah. So anyway, we need to maybe Tuesday we go again. So we start fresh Tuesday.
Yeah, start fresh Tuesday.
Okay, right. So and then any more shout outs?
That's it, innit?
Right, okay.
Did you think of anyone else?
No, not really.
No, that business podcast went quiet, isn't it?
No, much about that.
No, me neither.
Business
And also,
listen to you.
No.
Yeah. Apparently, this was in the last podcast. It's going to be apparently funnier than ours.
Oh, and
Doubt it.
Thanks, Ava. You know your bread's butters. Miss Kale said yesterday. She said, your podcast. I was like, oh, not another one. She was asking how we record it and stuff. I was like, well, we've got a producer, so.
Fully paid in Tuesday.
Yeah, that's left upstairs. Anyway, so yeah, she was inquiring about podcasts as well. So maybe who knows?
We've got to get it more across. And I realised that we'd actually shouted out Lawrence twice yesterday.
Did we? What did we
We've
shout out?
done it on.
No, we didn't put that podcast
No,
up.
we did because I listened to it. We shouted him out twice.
Oh, he deserves to.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, right, let's get on. What are we talking about today?
Right, today we're going to, in honour of their paper 2 that was sat, we are going to the urban futures topic.
Yeah.
And we've talked about London's sustainable solutions, and today we're talking about Lagos.
Right.
I don't know if you've learnt about Lagos yet. Had any lessons on Lagos? Ava?
No,
Well, that's
no.
coming next week. So this is hot off the press. This stuff that you're
Yeah,
learning today.
this is it. This is.
It's actually a podcast that Ava can learn from. I think.
Too right, yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about Lagos. So Lagos is our EDC/LIDC city, sir. And we normally use Lagos to compare that with London. Right. So Lagos is in this book.
Yep.
Our OCRBCGP book, and we're just going to be going through some of the reasons why Lagos is important, and also again it's some contemporary challenges that occur there. So, sir, where is Lagos?
This is in the country of Nigeria.
It's in the country of
And
Nigeria.
you know what? I want to go.
Yeah.
I really want to go.
Yeah, there's a really good YouTube channel, I think it's called Indigo Traveller or something like that. And there's a guy who puts out like half-an-hour videos, and one of them was does a series of them in Lagos, and the place is nuts.
That's
Place is
crazy.
wild. Yeah. So Lagos itself has a population of a 21 million. Well and truly,
And-
that's like the metropolitan area, so the area around it as well. So it's great, similar to like Greater London, and so that's well and truly a mega city.
It's massive and it's growing.
Yeah.
It's one of the fastest growing cities in the world in terms of its economy and size.
It's the most economically active city in Africa. It's probably the most important city in Africa as well, and it is right on the southern coast of Nigeria as well. So in terms of geographical location, it's got importance there as well. So talking about importance, sir, first of all, we've got to see why it's regionally important. Now, when we're talking about Lagos, it's different to London because when we're talking about its region, we're talking about Western Africa. Right. And the reason why it's regionally important is because of the port that's there.
Right.
So it's got a port, and the port obviously then connects Western Africa to the rest of, to pretty much the rest of the world. So a lot of the trade that goes through some of these, that goes to some of the landlocked countries around it, like Mali and Niger and stuff like that, that would have to go through the port of Lagos as well. So because of that port, it's got very much regional importance to the rest of West Africa.
So the regional importance isn't just Nigeria; it's that region of Africa.
Yeah, that region of Western Africa. So regional importance, nice and simple. If you've got a question, explain the regional importance of Lagos. That's it. It's got this port. It helps connect. Lagos helps connect Western Africa to the rest of the world.
Cool.
Yeah. Now, why it's nationally important. Now, I've got some stats here that I might need Ava to read out. But 10% of Nigeria's population is in Lagos. 10%. So similar to London, where it's 12.5% of the UK's population.
So this is our place-specific detail.
Yeah, it's our place-specific detail. So it's nationally important. It's important to Nigeria as a whole because the majority of its population live in Lagos. It's a hive of economic opportunity as well. So a lot of people will migrate into Lagos to find work in, say, the secondary sectors and moving away from the primary sector to help Lagos and Nigeria grow its GDP and stuff like that. And linking to GDP, why it's also nationally important, is because Lagos provides Nigeria with 25% of its entire GDP.
Wow.
A quarter of all the money spent in Nigeria is spent in Lagos.
That's amazing.
That's wild, isn't it?
It's a lot.
So again, it's important economically to Nigeria. And again, if you're bringing in these stats, I think it brings in 120 billion in terms of GDP, and the GDP of Nigeria is around the 450 billion mark as well. So is that right?
102 billion.
102 billion to, what is it, 440 billion?
Yeah, write that down.
Didn't write that there. Of course good. But yeah, it's all there. Yeah. So yeah, it's nationally important for that reason. So again, it makes up a large percentage of GDP and also loads of population there as well.
Right, great. So that's regionally and nationally important.
Regionally and nationally important, and then why it's globally important, or why it has worldwide importance. You got any idea?
Port, definitely.
Yeah.
Important.
Thinking of more like media.
And then Nollywood.
Right, well, as soon as we say Nollywood, there's giggles everywhere.
Always.
It's almost like Hollywood, well respected. Bollywood,
not as well. Like, 'cause I think not the issue, but what it is that we don't really see any of the films. Like some people
and if
do.
they are made, then their memes are turned into them.
Yeah, well, so I was talking to Mr. Sani about it though, and I was saying like, would you watch Nollywood movies? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so just like I don't see them at home. They're never on the TV when I put them on. But like obviously they're watched. But it's the second biggest film industry in the world.
Second biggest film industry.
Bollywood biggest, Nollywood, Nigerian film or Nigerian Hollywood, and then Hollywood.
It's mad actually because everyone would assume Hollywood's number one, but that's globally important because that's why Lagos has global importance because I think it also Nollywood hires like 11,000 or 50,000 people, and Nollywood's based in Lagos. So it's also got national importance there as well. Yeah. But it's globally important because it's showing everyone what Nigeria and what Lagos can do.
Yeah,
and also it's making a large proportion, and it's also again it's a global export to loads of places because Nigeria and sort of Western Africa's got a lot of migrants, a lot of diaspora across the world. It's spreading understanding of what Lagos is like, it's spreading understanding of what Nigeria is like, and also it's giving, if you think link back to the India topic, it's spreading that soft power around.
So right, yeah, and Afro beats as well.
Yeah,
that's the other the big type of music that originates there. Is exported all over the world.
Yes.
So definitely. Let's recap on regional, national, global.
Yeah, regionally important because of the port.
Yep.
And I'm sure the port got a name, but it doesn't come to my head right now.
Yeah, so regionally important because of the port, and that's important to the whole of West Africa.
Yeah.
But the port can go through all three, I think, just because ports are.
It's a big hire of people as well.
Massive, and it allows them to boost GDP. So regional, you've got the port. National, you've got population size. In fact, it's 21 million, and the population of Lagos, the population of Nigeria is around, I think it's in the 300 millions or 200 millions or something like that. So it's a big percentage of population, and also it provides Nigeria with 25% of its GDP. Brilliant. So the national importance is a lot linking to economic and GDP.
Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this GDP thing before, but I think I need to address it, right? So GDP, I always thought it was like the country's bank account.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not. So GDP, the definition is the total amount of goods and services provided in a country, right? So what you've actually got to think of GDP as is that's the total amount of money that's been spent in the UK in 1 year.
Yeah.
Right. So the GDP. So last year, from like February to February, the UK has spent, everyone in the UK collectively spent £3.1 trillion or dollars, right? So when they say we're in a recession and the GDP shrinks, you're like, how can the bank account shrink? But in reality, what it means is that people are just spending less money, right? So when we go into a recession, everyone then holds on to as much money as they can. But in reality, if everyone just spent more money, the economy will bounce back really quickly.
It'd be all right.
Yeah.
But then people don't have the money to spend.
Exactly.
Because everything goes up in price?
So potentially, but but the thing is that the issue is then when people don't spend, businesses then shut down. I thought it was recession, businesses shut, but it's because people aren't spending any money, so then the businesses aren't making money, so then they have to let people go, right? But the GDP thing is interesting because once you get that understanding of it, when people say an earthquake can lower a country's GDP, you're like, okay, sort of, but maybe not quite. So you need deep understanding on that. I just find it quite interesting.
Maybe if you were talking about like natural disasters and GDP, it'd be a case of like, due to the fact that people can't feed themselves or they can't work, then they're not contributing to the economy.
Yeah, so there has to be, it's similar to the fiscal geography where it has to be that step-by-step process. The GDP lowering is the last bit.
It's the end result of everything that happens prior to that.
Exactly. So they can't work, therefore they're not earning money, therefore they're not spending money, therefore the GDP declines.
Yeah, rather than it just being like it lowers the GDP.
Yeah. So I think that's the imparting that knowledge onto the
I think that was quite clear as well, considering you just threw it in there off the cuff.
Yeah. So so they're saying that in Nigeria they're spending about $440 billion every single year.
And it obviously leads to the fact that people are earning more money there. Yeah. It's becoming more developed.
And I think that also helps with why some countries have really low GDPs because there's not that money being spent. Or the sectors are informal, the working sectors are informal.
It all links to how fast the city's growing as well. Interesting. So then lastly, it's globally important, and you notice how we keep saying regional, national, global, and its importance. There's key because that's what the question sort of centres around, doesn't it? It's globally important due to Nollywood and due to like Afrobeats, so media exports.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Now moving on to some of the challenges that Lagos faces. It's a city that's growing rapidly, so rapid urbanisation is happening there. Mostly again as normal due to internal growth. So younger people moving to the city, and then they're having children, the population's naturally rising, and also international and internal migration as well.
And a lot of rural to urban migration.
a lot of rural to urban migration, but also just a lot of international migration from the surrounding countries as well. So the population's rising rapidly, and as a result, the city's not able to build the infrastructure quick enough, right? So as a result, you get these things called squatter settlements, right? And one famous squatter settlement is, do you remember the name of it?
No, that's a nice one. Sorry, Makoko Slum.
Yeah, it is Makoko Slum. Now, when you learn about Makoko Slum, Ava, you'll think this place is wild. And it's because it is wild. So Makoko Slum is
Can you go there on Google Street View?
Yeah, but it's not particularly good.
Is it not?
No, because you get to the outside. I think it almost might be a geopolitical thing where they don't want that sort of shown sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
But there's a video again, the Indigo Traveller takes you there, and that's really good. I might try and link his things in the bios and stuff like that. So so Makoko Slum is an area that's built on stilts and it's on a lagoon, right? And anytime there's heavy rainfall, mainly anytime there's heavy rainfall, all the sewage and stuff that's from the city gets washed out into the areas around it. And it's almost a city within a city, Makoko slums. So squatter settlements are a big problem because they're informal in nature. So there's nothing stopping the government going in there and just flattening the whole thing and telling everyone to move. But that wouldn't be in the city's best interests, obviously, because of the fact that where else would they go? Yeah. Another issue that Lagos faces is waste disposal, right? Waste disposal is a massive problem across the world, especially in EDCs and LIDCs, because it's going to be really hard to get rid of waste. And because of the population's rising so quickly, more waste is being produced on a regular basis. And as a result of that, like landfill sites are becoming overrun, and then you've got a lot of methane being released from these landfill sites and stuff as well, and that becomes tricky.
Contributing to pollution as well, so not only
absolutely,
air pollution.
Absolutely. And then finally, the last one I want to talk about is informal jobs. Because I think informal jobs is a good one to talk about. So informal jobs is all about the fact that you're not paying cash. You're not paying cash, but you're not paying tax. So the government, so market stalls, even though in the UK they're licensed, stuff like that, there'll be some tax element to it. An informal job is a job where if you've gone on holiday to some of these places, like maybe in Africa, or you've gone to like some parts of Asia, and there's just someone selling food on the side of the road sort of thing, and you're paying them cash, it's highly unlikely that they'll be giving any of that money to the government. So that's a big problem for the government, because then they're not getting the tax revenue. And because of that, then they can't fix the squat settlements. And because of that, then they can't fix the waste disposal problem. So there's a lot of interlinking and a lot of interdependent factors in Lagos, which does make it, some people, obviously I think socially it's a fantastic place to live, but geographically and mainly geographically it's a pretty tough place to be.
Yeah, so recap on all that, that was a lot.
Yes, it was a lot.
It's good. So, it's on a lagoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have issues with waste disposal, sewage, which can pollute the area, cause all manner of health issues, social issues, and then that does come under economic issues. Cholera is
an issue in the slum sometimes.
What else? Informal housing, squatter settlements, because of the rapid urbanisation, and it happens so quickly that people have to find somewhere to live there and then, and they can't necessarily afford to buy up housing or legitimate housing. And then we had waste disposal, creating methane, lots of pollution.
Obviously greenhouse gas.
Which is again greenhouse gas. Okay, so they are three main issues.
Yeah,
and informal work.
Yeah, and informal jobs. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to go on to. I will briefly mention it because I think we've got a bit of time. How long are we on? Do you know?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. So we're just going to the news and stuff.
Yeah, we still. Yeah, no.
Right. So one of the sustainable solutions, and these days sustainable solution, is in waste disposal.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is a place called Olususun Waste Management Project. Right. So what they're doing, and the whole thing is called Lagos Integrated State Waste Management Project. I think so. It's a long name. But the Olususun Management Project is the idea where they are using the methane to create electricity, so they can power the rubbish dump for 24 hours. Right, so they can be working all around the clock on shifts and stuff like that to ensure that the waste is managed properly. And also in some market in there, I can't remember what the name of the market is, but they're using the methane created by rotting vegetables to then power the market, so then they can make money and stuff like that as well. But the problem with the Olususun project is that it doesn't fix the waste disposal problem. Doesn't fix the waste creation problem. It might be able to fix the disposal problem, but it doesn't fix the creation problem.
Yeah, and I think and is it fixing it at a rate where it can sort of, what's the word I'm looking like, mitigate the amount that's being produced, because it's so
and these jobs and the jobs in the rubbish dump stuff, they're dangerous jobs. Like, these things are like mountains of rubbish. So if someone falls off that, then they're going to be in a bad way, I think.
And also the toxic fumes that are coming out of it. Right, interesting. So that's sort of one sustainable solution to issues that Lagos is facing. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, it's a lot Lagos, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think obviously we can talk.
Field trip to Lagos?
Yeah, why not?
Love that.
Yeah.
Would you come Ava?
Yeah, I'd come with you.
Yeah. I'd love to go. I'm sure we could get some good recommendations of places to go and stay with the kids here.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Sarni could help us out. Sure.
Sure. Straight to Banana Island.
Yeah, that's it. Ball parties, isn't it? Yeah. Not we ever been out partying. Right.
The news.
Oh, here we go. What have we got?
Right. What have we got, Ava?
You put hottest Februarian.
Hottest Februarian record. Right, again, hottest Februarian record.
So
time after time.
These stats just keep happening, don't they? It's the hottest Februarian record. The most storms we've had already this year named.
Do you know why it's the one of the hottest Februaries?
Go on.
El Nino, sir. So because of El Nino,
we did say that, didn't we? That we just entered one. That was like, was that our first podcast? It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So that's why I whacked El Nino. So El Nino has helped create the hottest Februarian record. Did we feel the hottest February? Did it feel hot? I don't think it felt hot.
I think it's
hot. It's actually quite warm out there, right?
I just don't think it's been like, we had that little bit of a cold spell, didn't we?
Yeah.
But it's just not been freezing.
No, it's been raining a lot.
It's been quite wet.
The floor is very wet.
Yeah, it's been wet the last few days.
Yeah, I think it's going to be wet today as well.
But it's bright though.
Yeah. Secondly,
it's not wet forecast. Go on.
Talking about sewage, sir.
Go on.
So, the Victorian sewage systems are overrun in London, sir. So what started to happen in places like Guildford is that the sewage is now coming up from the drains. So people are flushing their toilets, right? The sewage is going into the pipes, and because of the intense amount of rainfall, and because they're not being able to deal with the amount of sewage in the pipes and the Victorian plumbing and stuff, what you get is raw sewage coming out from like road drains and stuff like that, right? And people are and experts are actually concerned that sort of new diseases are going to be spread.
I thought you were going to say like old diseases.
Could be like old
buried
diseases
from the Victorian times.
I think that might be it then. Like old diseases being reintroduced into the Yeah, being reintroduced. Sorry, it's boring.
Is that a bit grim over?
Yeah.
I thought it was to do with what he was saying. Have you seen those things where they've got like fatbergs? Have you seen them? Do you know what they are?
No.
So you know when like, I don't know whether you're at home, you're under strict instructions not to pour fat down the sink and stuff, because basically what happens is it just builds up in the sewers. So that fat, they call them fatbergs. They're just big accumulations of fats that we're all pouring down the drains. You know, if you've been cooking, that little bit left over, all that builds up. And they have
so
to
it dries. So when you leave like a pan that you've had oil in, especially like if you're cooking bacon,
you've seen that like white stuff that forms in a pan. If you fried bacon in the morning and the white stuff left in it, it's like water, like solidified oil. You'll see it. You'll see it in the house when you're next cooking. You'll be like, oh, that's what they mean. But it builds up in the sewage systems. They have to employ people to break it apart.
Yeah, people have to go down there and like they've got these big
they've
got these big jet washers that are trying to break this thing apart. Oh. But the message is that obviously don't pour oil down or don't pour fat down the sink.
Especially not hot fat.
It's also why when you're eating Chinese and stuff and then you have a cold drink afterwards, that's why you feel so full up. Because it's so fatty, you're drinking a cold drink and that then congeals in your stomach.
Do you know why this is hitting home a little bit? Because my sink in the kitchen's blocked.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or completely blocked?
It's like I can't get it unblocked. I think I've got to go home and start tampering with the U-bend. It's not me either. We
had that at home. We emptied dishwasher and all the dishwasher water then come up through the sink.
Yes, there's obviously something blocking it. I'm just thinking, I don't need this. I'm a teacher.
You got papers to mark?
I've got loads of papers to mark, so I'm just going to stay here and just avoid going home. No,
yeah.
Well, I'll be here Monday morning. All right, we've digressed a lot today.
So we haven't thought at all, but I have got one in my head.
An interesting fact.
Right?
Go on.
This comes from Wild, and I thought this fact was fantastic, right? If you are at the point in the ocean, I think it's in the Pacific Ocean, where you're the furthest away from any land anywhere, right?
I'm looking at our map over there.
The closest person to you is in the International Space Station.
I think I knew this one. Yeah. Go on, say that again.
So if you're at this point, it's called Point Nemo, right? It's where you're in the ocean and you're furthest point away from any land. The closest person to you is in the International Space Station.
That's incredible.
That's mad, isn't it?
I wonder how far away the space station is.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, but I still think that...
If anyone knows how far away the space station is...
Wild, to get on it, please, mate.
Actually, go on, Ava, quick Google it.
All right.
That's what we're producing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So the nearest person to you...
If you're at Point Nemo's in the International Space Station.
Oh, interesting.
Can't be that far then.
Should we, while we're waiting for that, quickly talk about the weather?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
It is 250 miles.
Is that it? What, in the sky?
It's not that far then. It's not that, Spain, like the atmosphere's not that far away, I don't think.
No, how far is it? I don't know.
It's closer than the Hubble Space Telescope.
It's closer than the Hubble Space Telescope.
Yeah, that's true.
How far away is the atmosphere? I reckon.
So we're closer.
I reckon the atmosphere is like 70, 80 miles away.
So I reckon we're closer to the International Space Station right now than we are like Swansea. 250 miles-ish, something like that.
The atmosphere is 15 kilometres, so like 9 miles. Or 5 to 9 miles.
To the atmosphere?
I've run that in about 5 minutes.
You can row it even. Right.
It's not a weather forecast, but...
It's not a weather forecast, but go on.
Rainy today, I think. Rainy in the afternoon, 3 o'clock.
It's just been a bit miserable the last couple of days.
And then I've got cloudy but warmish on the weekend.
What's the weekend saying, Ava? Because it's
well,
cloudy out there today.
Saturday's colder than today, it'll be 13, but Sunday's 17.
Is it?
17 degrees.
Yeah, cloudy,
hold on, 17?
Oh yeah, here we go. So you may have noticed, and the eagle-eyed listeners out there and watchers out there will have noticed, put a little shamrock on there. That's to represent England's victory against Ireland in the Six Nations. Long live Marcus Smith. But no, Sunday is it's a popular day in England, and it's a very important day for Ireland. And I guess a shout out goes to Miss Duffy here, and Miss Downey, and all of our Irish teachers. You, I suppose.
I was going to say, I used to get sent in with my clothes stapled to my blazer.
But Sunday is St Patrick's Day, also known as Guinness Day. And some people may have noticed I've got a Guinness tie on, and that's just to represent St Patrick's Day.
So represent our Irish community here at Hatch.
Yes. So love that day. Love St Patrick's Day. Yeah. When I worked at
it's a shame it's on Sunday.
Yeah, I worked at Reading Football Stadium, and the London Irish used to play there, and they had a game on St Patrick's Day. And I was stuck out on the Guinness stall outside the concourse, right? And I think I was working there from 10 till about 7, I think. and we've made over 15 grand in sales of Guinness.
Well, it's a popular day for you anyway. Okay, so thanks very much, Ava.
Welcome back, Ava.
And welcome back. It's lovely to have you steadying the ship again. Yeah. Have a lovely weekend.
You too.
You enjoy your weekend, sir. Thank you very much.
Enjoy St Patrick's Day.
I will do.
Yeah.
I will enjoy St Patrick's Day. I wonder what I'm going to have for dinner on it. I might make myself an Irish stew.
What's in an Irish stew? Guinness.
Yeah. It's beef. It's just water. It's just a liquid stew. No. Yeah, you'd make the gravy with Guinness.
You know what I had on
carrots, onions, potatoes.
I'll tell you what.
Nice bit of bread.
There's something called a red velvet. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. And then you could also have an Irish breakfast on Sunday morning.
White pudding,
potato bread.
We're ready when you are.
Yeah, sorry, we were just waiting. Right, very good, Ava. Thank you very much.
Brilliant to have you back, Ava.
I saw two things that I didn't know if it was kind of relevant. But like, there was like this thing found. It was like a monolith found in Wales, and there was one found in like the US like a few years ago, and it disappeared like a couple of days later.
What's a monolith?
It's just like a block of stone that kind of looks like a...
Oh yeah, like Stonehenge.
Yeah, but this one's like reflective though.
Reflective?
Yeah, like a mirror.
Oh wow.
But they found one in the US and it disappeared a few days later, and now there's...
Hi Darius. Now that's pretty cool.
And now there's a random one found in Wales.
Is it the same one? Who knows?
Don't know.
Is that what goes in an Irish stew?
Carrots, definitely.
Carrots and potatoes.
K-rots.